Oh, yeah. Howdy. BTVR here, Big Television Reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing Better Call Saul, Season 4, Episode 5, titled Quite a Ride, I believe. So the episode begins with a pretty sick cold open. It is Saul, Jimmy, once he becomes Saul Goodman, fleeing from the people he was fleeing from at the end of Breaking Bad. And we've all seen it. If we've seen Breaking Bad, we've all seen this. The events that led up to this and the events that transpired afterwards. The significance of the cold open was pretty much just that we're drawing closer to Breaking Bad. The clues are there. We're getting there. There are more things in the episode that would hint towards that as well. So now getting into the actions of the characters in this episode. Typically I like to talk about the actions of the four main characters: Jimmy, Kim, Mike, and Nacho. But honestly, this episode there were only two characters that really mattered, that really played a big part, and that would be Jimmy and Kim. I will start by saying Mike did some stuff. He was helping Gus find someone to dig out under the laundromat that Gus inevitably starts cooking meth in, and that is significant also because it also indicates that we are drawing closer to the events of Breaking Bad, which is exciting. That's exciting. But this episode wasn't about Mike. It was mostly about Jimmy, and we'll start there. We'll start with Jimmy, and this episode really detailed his his continuous trend toward crime, toward the crime life. It starts with him being bored at his new job at CC Mobile, and he's just going through the day trying to waste time, and someone actually pulls in. He saw the painting in the windows, and Jimmy pretty much just scams him. He 100% scams him. He is pretty desperate to get out of that store and try to get into a more busy one, so he just scams the dude. Once he sees that he can start doing this, that opens the door for what he does later in the episode. But prior to what he does later in the episode, he is sitting on the couch with Kim, and Kim is working, Jimmy's watching television, and Jimmy, being the natural-born hustler that he is, he kind of feels belittled by the fact that Kim is working and he himself is just watching television. So he decides, I'm going to go do something, and he goes and starts selling these phones by saying, oh, it's privacy. These are private phones. You're not going to get caught by the government for saying things that you don't want them to hear you say. He sells a bunch. He sells a lot. And you can tell he's enjoying it. Again, he dislikes doing it normally, doing it lawfully at CC Mobile, and he enjoys doing it unlawfully. So he's selling these phones to these people on the street, and he is enjoying doing the crime more than he's enjoying doing the legal stuff. And that shows, he's over being a legal guy. He wants to be a criminal. It's honestly peak Jimmy. It's peak Jimmy. It is so enjoyable to watch. Him scamming people and him talking his way into their pockets and stealing their cash. Pretty awesome. But then he gets jumped. He gets jumped by these kids who he tried to sell to earlier. He gets beat up, gets mugged, beat up pretty bad. But instead of that deterring him, instead of that making him be like, oh, maybe crime's not for me, it honestly fires him up. Like, he's like, that shouldn't have happened to me. If I was back in my glory days, in my glory criminal days, then I would have never gotten jumped, and I want to get back to that. And that's the way he feels. It's a downward spiral for Jimmy. But at the same time, I would say he's this episode's big winner because he made a lot of cash, and it was fun to watch him. Now, Kim is definitely the other main part of this episode. And in this episode, Kim realizes she can't have the best of both worlds. Allow me to explain. In one of the episodes prior, maybe last episode, maybe the episode before, I think it was the episode before, episode 3, she sees all these big plans that Mesa Verde has, and she honestly gets a little scared, gets a little freaked out. It seems she might feel like this job is too big for her, and feels like a small fish in a big pond. She doesn't like that. So in order to get back that feeling of being a big fish, she goes to the courthouse and just takes on these cases and honestly just mops the floor with these lesser lawyers. And she does this to make herself feel better, make herself feel like a good lawyer again, make herself feel like a top dog. But then she gets a call from Paige at Mesa Verde, and Paige is like, there's been an error, you have to come now. Kim is helping out this other girl, this other woman, and she can't come now. She kind of just hangs up on Mesa Verde. Mesa Verde gets pissed. She almost loses her job. And this kind of shows Kim tries to have the best of both worlds. She tries to be the small fish and further her career while at the same time being a big fish and just enjoying herself. And she can't have both. So she's going to have to figure out what she's going to do in the future. She's If I had to pick a loser for this episode, it'd be her or Howard. Howard has insomnia, and Jimmy kind of gloats over that in the bathroom. But other than that, no other big loser, I think. One thing that kind of confused me this episode was Jimmy, said, oh, I'll take the shrink number, and then he just kind of tore it up. I don't know what that means. Maybe I'll figure it out later, but I don't know. In the ending, where Jimmy's talking to his parole officer guy, that was kind of a callback to the cold open, where the parole officer asks, what are you going to do after your parole's up, your probation or whatever? And Jimmy says, I'm going to be a lawyer, and he's very insistent that he's going to be a lawyer. And the cold open shows he did become a lawyer. See, maybe now he knows I'm going to be a criminal lawyer because he enjoyed the criminal stuff so much. So maybe that was the realization point for Jimmy in what he's going to become in the future. He's going to become Saul Goodman, and he's going to be a criminal. Yeah, episode 4.05, season 4, episode 5, quite a ride. It was quite a ride. It was a great episode, and I can't wait for next week's episode. 2 big thumbs up for this episode. 2 big thumbs up.